Members of the Township Council, Council President, the incredible staff in the Township, and most importantly, our residents, thank you for making 2017 one of the most exciting and hopeful for my professional and political career. Now, as a country, I have never seen a fundamentally good people so divided. The tone of public discourse has never been so harsh, so cruel, or so deeply partisan. But in our own little Anatevka, our own little world, our own little corner of the universe, we are one. Yes, we have our disagreements, like the time when he sold him a horse but delivered a mule. That's a fiddler analogy for those who get it. But in the end, we negotiate, discuss, study, research, and yes, ultimately come to consensus through reason and compromise, something that used to define the American politic. I thank each of the council members here for working together for the residents of East Brunswick. The State of the Township address tonight is broken into two segments. The first will concentrate on the main issues that were the subject of the 2016 campaign, namely redevelopment, property taxes, services concentrating on construction, and the construction of the large border wall around East Brunswick. Just joking. The second and last section will give a tour of the main departments here in the township, highlighting some of the achievements for 2017, stating some of our goals for 2018. East Brunswick, as you see it now, is a suburb that grew out of the migration from big cities in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. The structure, architecture, roads, commercial space, car-dependent nature of our community worked for those that sought quiet, safe refuge, living a distance from the city. But times have changed. Led mostly by our millennial and Generation Z children and grandchildren, they seem to prefer city lifestyle characterized by a community where one can live, work, and play in one locale. This trend has been reflected in our own population distribution as demographic studies have shown that our township is aging. We must attract young adults and families back to East Brunswick, and we must redevelop our vacant commercial space to fit in with the needs, shopping patterns, and demands of a new economy, one that is less dependent on cars, one that does a large amount of shopping online, one that cares about its environment, and one that provides a rich, diverse, and exciting lifestyle. During 2017, we did create and selected members for the East Brunswick Redevelopment Agency. The purpose was to provide a stable body separate from the governing body that could act solely and completely on redevelopment. Developers and consultants prefer this format as it is away from politics and allows planning, construction, and financial commitments without the fear that the rug could be pulled out due to a change in township government. The resumes of each of the commissioners are available on the township website, but you cannot find a more able, qualified, diverse, and committed group of fellow residents led by Councilman Jim Wendell to shepherd this process. Despite the controversy, we were able to redefine some of the areas of redevelopment as areas of need and redevelopment with the right of condemnation. This has allowed the town to stimulate meaningful discussions with some of the larger developers and commercial real estate owners in the redevelopment zones. Our goal is to act in the interests of the town and create an area that would attract the kinds of businesses, restaurants, nightlife, and services that East Brunswick residents today can only find in areas outside of East Brunswick. We can do better, much better, and we will treat every property owner with the respect they deserve and is guaranteed by law. The planning process is well underway as we look to develop a transit-oriented development in the northernmost area of Route 18. This will center and expand upon our bus and parking utility that we already operate. Honoring my commitment to keep this an open and transparent process, I recently recreated the Economic Development Advisory Committee. They are charged with developing a strategic plan for the redevelopment zones and providing town halls for open and public discussion of our plans. The strategic planning session is going to be scheduled for February 6th, at 7 p.m. in the Community Arts Center. This is open to the public, so everyone is invited. There will be a presentation of our progress and open tables for suggestions. The goal is to develop a town plan for redevelopment that has the most complete list of township wishes and desires. Once our plan is complete, we will be ready to negotiate with the present property owners or other potential developers and hammer out a revitalized Route 18 corridor that redefines East Brunswick in a way that makes us proud of our community and attracts the next generation of East Brunswick residents. As we look to 2018, I anticipate that the first area to be redeveloped will be the 110 Tices or Wonder Bread area located behind Dick's Sporting Goods. The Kmart was recently purchased and is likely to be renovated into much smaller commercial space. And we did see a series of record-breaking stores and restaurant and office openings this year, including the Park Chateau, pictured up there, Red Robin, Moe's, Home Goods, Aldi, Five Guys, Witham, Smith & Brown, and many others. This year we look forward to many more new openings and groundbreaking for many others. When it comes to property taxes, let me keep this simple. Any long-term stabilization or reduction in property taxes can only occur if we bring in new ratables to the township. It's that simple. We cannot cut our way to prosperity. Pruning is one thing, but if you cut too many branches off a tree, it just dies. We've spent a good part of this year looking at all the departments and have made cuts where it was possible. This has often been through attrition, cost analysis, or straight budget cuts. Our goal is to keep property taxes stable this year. This will depend in large part on the ability of the Board of Education to likewise limit any increase. Like most private businesses, we are asking public workers to do more with less, and they are responding. We cannot ask less of ourselves than is being demanded of the residents that pay our bills. On a good note, 2017 saw $8.2 million in new revenues balanced against $3 million in refunds due to tax appeals. Keep in mind that all refunds are due to tax appeals are 100% paid for by the township. We cannot collect back money that has already been distributed to the public schools, county, library, or fire districts. As of now, East Brunswick's market value has been stable, and East Brunswick remains a desirable community to move. Our equalization ratio has remained stable, but the data to determine those rates is over 30 years old, making East Brunswick long due for a reevaluation. This will happen when and only when it's required by the state. While the boost to ratables from redevelopment will take some time, we've put in place several initiatives to help stabilize taxes now. The Shop East Brunswick program was started in June. This program allows residents to accumulate savings from discounts offered by local merchants and apply those savings directly to property tax reduction. The program runs from May 1st to April 30th, and this is done so that a full year of savings can be applied to a new tax bill, since those bills are generated in the summer each year. A second reward card was introduced in October called the Estate Card. And like the Shop East Brunswick card, it does provide savings from local stores, but also includes 3,200 stores throughout the nation, including online shopping. You can go to the township website to find out more information about those programs, or you can just call the Office of Economic Development right here at the township. The past year, we also reestablished the East Brunswick Chamber of Commerce. This was done to energize and organize our business community into a critical partner with the township. We need to keep our businesses. We need to be receptive to their needs, and we need to do our part to help them thrive. An active, engaged, and excited business community is the best recipe to attract new businesses to East Brunswick. Looking forward, one of my priorities for this year is to look to shared service agreements with surrounding towns. Clearly, New Jersey has its economic challenges ahead. We are a big town, and we need to take the lead in forging new and innovative ways to consolidate services between towns. This duplication of services cannot be sustained, and we shall take the lead in looking at ways to become more efficient by getting away from that home rule paradigm which burdens New Jersey with excess administration. We do need to keep aware of several factors that can impact our financial plans in ways that are completely outside the township's control. First, we have all of our union contracts which have yet to settle. And this is going to be deeply dependent upon Trenton as it relates to the Chapter 78, which is the employee contribution to health care and pension plans, and the 2% cap, all scheduled to expire. These are open issues and await a final decision by Governor Murphy. The East Brunswick Education Association contract with the East Brunswick Board of Education has the exact same issues and has not settled. Keep in mind that salaries and benefits are 75% of the Board of Education's expenses, and the Board of Education gets almost 65% of your tax dollar. So do the math. This means that almost 50% of your tax bill will be determined by that one contract alone. Healthcare costs. We were very lucky this year. We renegotiated our healthcare carrier and went with a new carrier, but it is a self-funded plan, which means that in a year that can change completely because self-funded plans are experience-based. Any bad group of outcomes can affect significantly the rates going forward. The new tax law that just passed this past month, while we'll probably not see the effect this year, it won't happen till filing for 2018, which doesn't take place until April of 2019. But what effect that may have on property values is yet undetermined. And then finally, we have still a number of outstanding tax appeals, mostly on commercial space, which has a very high vacancy rate out on the highway, which can impact their value. So all of those things can impact the financials that are outside township control. When it comes to the commitment to providing excellent services, my first area of concern was the planning, engineering, and construction department. We needed to recognize the importance of providing a service that allows East Brunswick to be attractive to the business development community and to residents, all while keeping to safety codes and standards. In a world where businesses can go elsewhere, we need to be customer-driven and technology-savvy. To that end, 2017 saw a massive streamlining of the construction department. Changes included the application of the Mitchell-Humphrey and FastTrack.gov software. This will all help streamline the process of construction through automation. This will also increase accountability to residents by allowing them to view the process online. The myth that we did uncover in this process is that many of the work slowdowns in town have actually not been a problem with the town, but have often been a problem with GCs who take on too many jobs and simply want to say that the reason that they can't get any work done is because of the town, which isn't always true. But the program will give residents the opportunity to keep track of their projects by themselves. Inspectors will be getting tablets this year, enabling them to issue permits directly in the field. And the system will also allow residents and businesses to submit projects, plans, alterations to plans, and fees all online. And we also reorganized and renovated the construction department and workspace downstairs to promote efficiency and allow for proactive review of plans with inspectors prior to commencing any work. Highlights for the department include that we continued our pavement management plan this past year, repaving 3.5 miles of road at a cost of $1 million. We finished the tennis courts at Bicentennial and Lenape Park and the pickleball courts at Lenape. We completed the new building at the Crystal Springs, which was used and is still used for bathroom, storage, registration, and food vendors. And we renovated the lights and road at the corner of New Brunswick Avenue and Ruse Lane that was long overdue. Plans for 2018 include continuation of our pavement management plan. We've allotted $1.7 million this year in hope of doubling the number of miles of road that we repave over that we did last year. But this process is going to have to continue if we are ever to catch up with the 180 miles of Township Road. Edgeboro Road will get a long overdue resurfacing this summer. There will be new light designs on the corner of Old Bridge Turnpike and Ruse and Cranberry and Fern. Road construction and reconstruction will take place on Dunham's Corner between Riders and Cranberry Road over the summer. And finally, we're going to start a 4-year project of developing bike paths and lanes throughout the township. That will start this spring. And the plans are to work with surrounding towns so that we can perform or provide an interconnecting connection of bike paths and lanes. The Department of Public Safety will be the topic of my next Facebook Live presentation on January 31st, but some highlights. In keeping with the township's need for fiscal restraint, we operate with 83 officers, one of the lowest police-to-population ratios, and we consistently have among the highest arrest records in the county. These men and women of the force are working really hard, keeping the township and our community safe. They deserve our applause and our gratitude. In fact, the Home News Tribune did recognize our police force by ranking them the best police department in Middlesex County for the 2nd year in a row, which is great. The department has some of the highest standards, and to that end, the EBPD started a 12-month voluntary accreditation program this past summer. It's offered through the New Jersey Association of Chiefs of Police and is expected to be completed by this summer. There was a huge emphasis placed on community policing, increasing the staff to 2 officers over the one they had previously. While they have many, many programs, I would like to highlight one, and that program is their security survey, vulnerability, and risk assessment program that they offer for free. As we all know, we live in a new age of threats, and while school emergencies capture national attention and are tragic, fortunately, they are rare, and our schools have been well trained and prepared for years through lockdown, fire, and active shooter drills that they do regularly. But the fact remains that houses of worship are attacked far more frequently, and I do not want to be that mayor one night on the news telling the public that I never thought that it could happen here. So the East Brunswick Police Department and I will be making a big push to every house of worship this year to participate in that program. And I'm not really asking. This is also offered to hotels and to large conference centers. Department of Parks and Recreation had another busy year. They provided 400 programs and 16 special events this year. They run multiple programs and brought in about $2.6 million in revenue this year, with $1.2 million of that revenue coming from Crystal Springs alone. Crystal Springs was ranked the #1 public water park in New Jersey this past year, and some of our goals for 2018 is again the bike pass and lane process, which will start on Dunham's Corner Road and Hardenberg Lane. We will begin the process of the bike path to connect Crystal Springs and the Community Arts Center when we finally did get our approval from the New Jersey DOT, as that comes with state and federal aid. We will begin pickleball conversion of the skate park. We will continue major programming with attention paid to alternating Saturdays and Sundays. We will also be looking to develop the Freed site. And for most of you who don't remember what that is, that's the Superfund site that sits at the end of Fresh Ponds Road on the border of Milltown, which was closed years ago as a Superfund site. As we understand it, most of the problem now is deep well water, and they don't need quite as much space to clean that up. So we're working with the EPA to remove some of the restricted use, return it to the town, and use it for public park use. And I actually have some pictures that I got from walking that site. I don't think many people know or realize how beautiful it really is. DPW is responsible for the 165,000 square feet of space in the township's 16 buildings. Highlights of their year included conversion to a lot of energy efficient upgrades here in the municipal building, vehicle maintenance program, which continues to save us thousands of dollars on our fleets of vehicles. They crack sealed about 25 miles of road and managed stormwater maintenance, sweeping, and drain maintenance on 54 miles of road. They maintain an active brine program. Most of you have seen that on the roads this winter. It's now become a routine part of our snow and ice control, and any excess is actually sold to other towns. The Water Division is responsible for maintaining the 240 miles of water mains in East Brunswick. And as you all know, we've had many water main breaks this past year. The use of social media, however, including Nixle, has allowed for easy and quick dissemination of this information, thus increasing public awareness. But that being said, it has been a bad winter. In fact, it is our worst winter in 10 years, and it's not over. The water main breaks have generally been related to rapid temperature changes, which we have experienced this past season, and has been a problem around the entire region. It is not just East Brunswick. Water is regularly monitored for lead, bacteria, chlorine, and other chemicals. The Consumer Confidence Report that they produce is available on the utility website, and it's posted on EBTV and on your water sewer bills. After 17 years of service to our community, Rachel Steinberg, the director of the Department on Aging and Senior Center, retired. And while we're sad to see her go, we are happy to welcome Ms. Danielle Macaulay to the Township and the department as its new director. She started a couple of hours ago. She started today. Danielle brings a lifetime of experience in the public and private sector, and I'm sure that our senior center will benefit from her leadership. Some of the programs that they do is to continue a full schedule of programming inside and outside of the senior center. They do SHIP and Medicare advising services. They've provided free tax returns again this year. They provided over 1,000 social service contacts. They continue their Meals on Wheels program, and the senior center does benefit from having a full-time chef on staff. The center implemented the My Senior program this year, and while it's up and running, they've yet to implement the full range of services it provides. That will be an objective for this year. It was also a milestone year for our library as we celebrated our 50th anniversary. In this half-century, our library has grown to become one of the busiest and most well-respected libraries in New Jersey. Highlights of the golden anniversary year include the long-awaited renovations to the flooring, furniture, and several rooms. I hope most of you have had an opportunity to see. They created the EB Create Makerspace, an area that's dedicated for technology and crafting, featuring a recording studio. The library saw 350,000 visitors this year, registered 2,000 new users, and celebrated the circulation of its 300 millionth item. They provided healthcare, wellness, and medication disease information through its award-winning Just for the Health of It program. And they provided many programs and committed to increasing these options through shared programmings with several township departments and commissions. This is all part of a township and library commitment to bringing the community together. The township, speaking of bringing the community together, the township has many opportunities for community involvement. There are many boards, commissions, councils, and committees that rely on public support. And I'm pleased to say that for the first time in many, many years, we have almost all positions filled. I'm truly grateful to the residents who have offered hours of their time, and I could say with certainty that this is the most diverse group of volunteers the township has ever seen, a true reflection of the diverse and vibrant community East Brunswick has become. In keeping with my commitment to transparency and public access to matters of importance, I began to access social media and EBTV to highlight topics of interest. My regular monthly Facebook Live presentations have focused on topics such as redevelopment, snow removal, road repair, and others. The next program on public safety will air on the 31st at 7 p.m. In closing, I'd like to publicly thank my most important acquisition this past year, our business administrator, Joseph Crisculo. He's been an invaluable asset to me, the township, my office, the municipal employees, and most important, the 50,000 residents that call East Brunswick their home. A hearty thank you to the Township Council, our department directors, and the employees of the township, all of whom I consider to be friends. A huge debt of gratitude to my family for putting up with me when I'm home and actually accepting the fact that most of the time I'm not really home. But the biggest thank you goes to the 50,000 residents of the Township of East Brunswick who have placed their faith in me. This really is the best job that I could want, and I intend to keep my promise to always act in the town's best interest above all. God bless you, the Township, and the United States of America.